Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and this is August's Craft IQ, where Jackie gives us 7 layers and we try and create a layout using those layers. So starting off, I'm using this Bella Boulevard Island Escape, and number 1 is yellow pattern paper background. So check that off, I've got that. Number 2 is grid photos, and I have 18 photos. Now I end up using 16 of them, but I have these little 2x2s. Number 3 is acrylic or resin, and I have this acrylic from Some Assemblage Required that I adore. Number 4 is Fussy Cutting Something. And there is actually a paper in this collection that has some pretty wide, fat, florals. And so I'm going to cut some of those out to use to help embellish this layout. And then number 5 is buttons. The only buttons that I know I have are these Bow Bunny ones I just got in an ephemera surprise box from Peacecraft Love. And some of those solids will work just fine on this layout. The colors actually match really well. Number 6 is to mat your pictures in black. So I don't end up using those matte stacks. I end up having a scrap of black paper. And then number 7 is ribbon. I couldn't tell you where this came from. It's probably from the dollar spot at Target. But I have that black with the polka dots, and then I have the black with the little yarn on the side or thread. And then the 2 bonuses, one is to have the acrylic be a part of your title or all of it. And 2 is the fussy cutting needs to be something nature. So check. So I have everything I need for all 7 layers. And I thought I'd use this I Believe in Unicorns, but we'll see. So I got my paper, my pictures, my embellishments. So let's see how this goes. So first things first, I trimmed the branding strip off my paper, I do believe. And then I am trimming down my pictures to the 2x2. And like I said, there are 16 of them. Oh no, I got to do the branding strip. There are 16 pictures, and I'm only going to use, there's 18 pictures, and I'm only using 16 because it's a grid pattern, and the 18 wasn't going to work the way that I wanted it to. So I love this floral paper. It's big and bold, and I want to break up some of that yellow in the background, so I'm thinking it's going to be a good fit. Now, these pictures are of my son, and there's this huge unicorn raft at my cousin's house, and he was trying really, really hard to get on the raft, okay? And so I just was recording him and taking pictures and trying to catch that moment when he got on the raft and it was a success. Yeah. So this is the first 3 attempts, and every time I tried to take pictures, like, it never happened. He fell off every time. So as soon as I walked away, he did it. So, yeah. So I got really excited about the way this layout turned out and decided that I would make a facing page with the pictures of my son on the unicorn, like hugging on it, like, oh yeah, I've made it. And so I decided I was going to use that, and that title that I shared in the beginning that said something about I believe in unicorns, I'm going to use that as the title for that part of it, since obviously he didn't really believe in the unicorn in this part of it. So I have matted all of my pictures into not a full 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 black paper. It's like 2 1/8 almost on the top and the sides. And so then I also took my Tim Holtz distress tool and I distressed all 16 of those little 2x2 pictures. And then I'm adding my ribbon right now, and I use a little double-sided tape as well as Nouveau Deluxe, because that tape will hold it now, but for long term, that Nouveau is going to be what really holds that. And I got was thinking this came from the dollar spot at Target, and I worked there in 2006. So that tells you something. So I am going to fussy cut some of these flowers because I want to tuck them behind the pictures to give them kind of like a decoration or something on each of the pictures. And I don't want it to be anything that's going to take away from the picture. So I think that these simple flowers being tucked underneath or next to or whatever, it's going to work perfectly fine. So I cut enough to where I know I can have at least one behind each picture. And now is the matter of trying to line them up. And that's the good thing about having it on this paper, because it already has a grid on it. And so I feel like that helps me, like, at least with the lines and stuff. So I get that lined up, and no, it's not perfect. I am well aware. But, you know, I don't ever get things lined up just right. Jackie, who runs this hop, JQ Crafty, her little tagline or byline on her YouTube is like, if it's straight, I didn't do it, or if it's not crooked, I didn't do it, or something like that. And I'm like, yes, girl. She and I are scrappy sisters for sure. And so that's me. If it's straight, well, it's a miracle. So I'm okay with that. It adds character. So I have all these little flowers and I'm just tucking them in. I don't want them like all on one side or all, coming out the same space. And so I put the flowers down, and then I want to put these big flowers down, and they're almost like clouds because they're big, white, fluffy. And so I don't put them down here making, with the assumption that they're going to look like a cloud. But I'm going to put this acrylic from MK and Some Assemblage Required down on top of here. And it pretty much, sits on there kind of like those are clouds. But, and I'm going to fix that little gap right there at the bottom. I cut a little piece out and put it there. So you won't see all that big gap right there. So now I'm going to get the buttons out, and I'm just going to add a couple to some flowers to make them look more dimensional. And then I really felt drawn to put them in the middle of that ribbon, because I just thought that would be really cute to put a couple of buttons in the middle of that ribbon. And so I am going to turn this. I'm going to put some Nouveau Deluxe in the middle-ish. That eyeballing again. And then I debate back and forth because there's a blue and a light blue and a white that are the same size and shape and stuff. And then there are two whites, but they're not the same size and they're not the same shape. But I decided that I wanted the white. I like the contrast of the white. So I put two white buttons down there. And I just love the way it turned out. I thought it was really cute that black and white helped bring all the yellows and pinks and teals back together. So I just think that it turned out really cute. And I will end up doing some journaling in that space in the middle. That's why I've kind of left that empty, is to write a little something there. And then I pull that little water line from the chipboard collection. And I'm going to put that down. Most of the chipboard was stuff that I could not use on this layout. I can't remember why, but it was not all that fitting. It was huge florals, which wouldn't have fit. There's some like sun tanning or beach references. Those weren't going to work because obviously we weren't at the beach. And this says ah, and it could be like ah, or it could be like ah, or out of frustration, which is more along the lines of what his ah would be, is out of frustration because he could not stay on the unicorn. And then his cousin, who's 2 months younger than him, jumped one time and got on the unicorn. And I don't know how many times Jameson jumped on there, but I captured the first 3 times and I documented it. So I will say, after all is said and done, I was looking at the stickers, the chipboard stickers that have the I love or I believe in unicorns. And on the back it had the numbers, like accounting numbers, 1, 2, 3, whatever. And I thought, oh, that would be really neat if I label the first round of pictures, the second round of pictures. So after the camera is turned off, I create a second layout for Jameson, winning over the unicorn. And then I put a 1 on here, a 2 where the second set begins, and then a 3 on the last set. And it's just really kind of finishes out the layout. It looks really good. So if you are on Instagram, then you will see Instagram pictures that, because I took them after I had completed that. So here are my 7 layers. Yellow background, grid pictures, acrylic, fussy cutting, buttons, paper, background in black for the pictures, and ribbon. And I love how this turned out. It was so much fun. And like I said, I created a page to go with it that has him winning the day and getting on the unicorn and staying there. So I hope you'll go down below and check out all the other awesome creatives who are hopping along with JQ Crafty's Craft IQ. Hope you'll come back and see me really soon. Have a great night and happy scrapping.